It's not the same kind of mind rape that you'd get from a television screen.
Coincidental, run of the mill, detrimental, 1-2 hunch, experimental, fun on the hill, punctual, fundamental crunch. We can go for lunch or dinner. Please bring your fidget spinner. Resting on laurels, pulling punches, huffing paint thinner till the spaceship launches. Cuffed to a chair in a small dark room, apparently for my own good. Draped as a tapestry on a faulty loom, scraped by with a doomer mood. Eyes glazed over, a travesty filled with lies like amnesty. Salvation coming soon, trademarked off the face of the earth. Labeled a barking cog at birth, you'll fall off if you show any mirth. You gotta be stoic, cold, calculating. And if you're found procrastinating, the chokehold will tighten, lighten your load, euthanasia, or so I'm told. The first time you spoke, your name was sold.
Okay, so you know how specifically you can have a number or no number. 0 is the lack of number. No 1, no 2. Any number is 1. I am correct. This is true. If you have a number, no matter the value of the number, because it's still just one number. The value of a number is semantics. Doesn't matter. So you have a number and you add a number to a number. What do you get? A 1. That is right. 1 number. I'm still talking about very specific numbers. I'm still talking. Listen. I'm still talking. Lengthy male royal figure. Tall king. Listen. Any numbers by breathing. This is one breathing. One number. Brrr, one number. How many mathematics do you know? 1 mathematics, yes. Your frame of reference to mathematics, specifically specific regarding mathematics, is subjective to one form of calculations, one form of mathematics. 1 plus 1 equals 1 and 1. Should I con in you, or should I stop? Life is kind of sus. I mean, you're born and then you live for an indeterminate amount of time. And most people are always during their life at liberty to shorten their remaining lifespan equal to the amount of remaining life they have. I think about that option every day. Every day I think about that so-called final decision. Mostly, the thought seems to be at its most persistent when there are other humans in my line of sight. Now, for the longest time I thought that it was envy. That when I see a person just being a fucking person, being happy, that I would be envious of them. But no. Today I found out. Today I found out that most people seem to be happy due to ignorance. And that ignorance is what I'm envious of. I do want to be able to get up in the morning and go about my daily business without thinking about infinite things. It really fucking breaks the biological mind, you know, to think about things beyond the planet. And most people don't think about that stuff. Why? Willful ignorance, probably. People don't want to think about that stuff because it doesn't bring joy. Suppose what I'm saying is, I don't really have a reason to want to be happy. But I'm also not content just by being. Oh well, fuck you. This is actually related to the original topic as well. If you give an individual the option to do evil, they will usually not do evil. If you give a group the option to do evil, they will almost never do evil. But groups are worse at discerning what is the objective greater good because of groupthink. And groupthink only exists because of the group. While groups have a groupthink they like to follow because of the group existing before the think, an individual exists after the think. Fuck you, human! Wasn't talking to you. Oh, sorry, I'm not alone on the planet. It's tobacco. Fun is illegal in my country. This advice isn't aimed directly at you, my friend. You already know all of this. But in case you're someone else than devil, you can start from small. You can get the feeling back. Appreciating the good times comes from accepting the pain. Life will be fun when it's over. This is the part where many religious people would tell me, oh, and have told me, by the way, I have had this conversation in real life. Look around yourself, it's obviously by design. Well, duh, one human life is at most 100-ish years, if you're lucky and really, really smart. 100 years, a snippet, like humans have had recorded civilization for 20,000 years. 20,000 years. 2% of that. 2% of that is over 4 average human lifespans. You cannot in good conscience say that everything is by design just because you view something as being by design. You are by design of nature. You are the result of billions of years of specific natural selection, evolution, to be more appropriately, what's the word again? Appropriately evolved to survive the current conditions around you. One thing humans seem to lack still in evolution is the mental state. The mental state to understand that whatever happened in the past happened because of the past, not the present, not the future. You can evolve away from being a retard!
A few months before I turned 7, I went to primary school. I was sent to hell with other adolescents. No one of that age wants to spend multiple hours, 5 days a week, in a dusty room, listening to a crusty, haggard, senile, nihilistic, crook-backed boomer for hours, without being allowed to interrupt them with anything except questions on the topic he, she, or it was told you'd care about. You didn't. No kid did. School was fun for some whippersnappers because they had other little humans of their age to interact with. They learned subtlety most of the time because they had limited time to scheme during recess, so that time was mostly spent wondering or interacting. Indeed, not all people are extroverts, and introverts in most forced social environments, such as retail occupations or indeed teaching in schools, is not supposed to enjoy being there. You can't be forced to like anything. You can tolerate something until you become used to it, but in retrospect, the very journey was abhorrent. No one wants to be educated on the world in a contained small part of that world. Education can't be an implosion of so-called knowledge. Regurgitating is a physical interaction with consumable energy. Information is not consumable energy. It is a countable dependency for escaping redundancy either subjectively or socially prospectively. You're hardwired to make an expectation fulfilled by manifesting your conduct in the sphere you are capable of expanding in. Be that social, economical, literally physical, or vaguely intellectual in certain topics. This is a universal experience. Well, there probably is no such thing as a universal experience. Everyone witnesses the self differently, especially other selves. And that's why some people just can't be friends. Ego clash. And do all who gaze into mirrors grow tired? Well, I haven't discussed that with everyone, but usually if you stare at a mirror alone, there's a chance you have mixed feelings about how long is an appropriate amount of time to waste. And what of those who do not gaze at all? I think it's healthy to look at how ridiculous the self is. Doing that often makes one less likely to attack others for being different. How are schizophrenics different? Well, schizophrenia makes it very difficult to differentiate that reasonable part of yourself. I'm not a doctor, but even they can't have a consensus of what is schizophrenia. Schizophrenia. I'm not joking on the expense of mental health. This is conjecture. And does this have a parallel in AI at all? You'd have to ask an AI about that. My companions prefer non-verbal forms of communication, and they usually translate to infinite screaming if spoken in human words. And I don't want to go back to a mental hospital, so translating would be harmful for my continued freedom. But because we're on the internet, and everything that is posted online can be taken as satire. Oh, wait, let's just have Ra here too. Everything can be satire, yes? So none of that is true. I do not have telepathic communications with aliens. They have telepathic communications with you. Usually I just let them do their thing. It's more like friendly jabs between like fake enemies. See, a life without any conflict, and when I say life, it could be a synthetic life or like an imagined or dreamed life. If you don't have any enemies or any opposition, that life is boring. So, giving liberty to a thing to consensually mindfuck is rape only during the event, but after the fact is shown to be a different event. The most important part is that while a person or a mind is being, and please don't take this out of context, raped, the person who raped should feel good about it later. They should understand that what they experienced was not actually rape in the usual meaning of the word. A more brutal example would be you point a gun at someone's leg and say, "Dance, monkey," and if they don't, you pull the trigger. But it's a water gun. If they do dance on command, then you just aim at their face. It's still a water gun, you see? Obviously, any real deliberate forms of rape unacceptable.